Booster Course Wave 2 for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is here, and we're checking out all changes and differences made for the returning courses. Last up in the Turnip Cup is Waluigi Pinball, which first appeared in Mario Kart DS. Like the name suggests, the course takes place inside a huge pinball machine with oversized pinballs, bumpers, flippers, and a grand slot machine with Waluigi's big mug. Were you expecting something different? Too bad.
Waluigi time!
So how does the most recent update differ from past installments? Let's find out. Since its initial release on the Nintendo DS, Waluigi Pinball returned for 3DS with slightly improved graphics, and then again for Tour with entirely revamped visuals. But for the first time, the course now is available on a home console, and it looks better than ever. For the most part, it plays the way it did from its inception. Nearly all gameplay changes consist of the behaviors of course elements, many of which are reflective of the game's general physics. The first of these is the vehicle launcher that rockets drivers to the top of the playfield. Originally, those inside were invulnerable to all item attacks. But ever since 3DS added a glide ramp, that invulnerability was removed, so anyone hit in the launcher would fall out of bounds. Once landing safely on the horseshoe lane and then hopping onto the chicane lane, the first giant pinball is encountered. Before, simply touching one would cause a driver to crash. But because of Mario Kart 8's rules of interaction, one must be driving at a quick enough speed to crash into a pinball, or else it just pushes the vehicle, even if rolling in at full force. Shortly after the dash panel that was added in Mario Kart 7 beyond the second jump, another pinball can be found heading into the playfield arena with bumpers. Like in Mario Kart DS and Tour, two pinballs can bounce about here at any given time. But 3DS had a unique exception where only one pinball would appear when playing with others. Their pattern has been changed now so that they don't linger on one side of the arena. The four rotating bumpers in the area originally moved swiftly in a counterclockwise direction. They slowed down only a little for the 3DS version, but rotated clockwise instead. Their speed was much slower for Tour. The direction remains the same now, but the bumpers are about as quick as they were in Mario Kart 7. Hitting one with a star or a bullet bill active will cause it to bounce up and over the driver, differing from its DS, 3DS, and even Tour counterparts. In those games, bumpers just would repel drivers, although Tour allowed for sweet tricks to be performed on top of them for jump boosts. By the way, the side bumpers were a bit bigger than the rest, but since either Tour or this DLC, they were reduced to the same size as the others. Weird. Finally, the flippers that guard the drain activate periodically, and their behavior has differed slightly throughout the games. For DS, they caused drivers to spin out if they struck from the front side, but only would push from the back side unless they were electrified upon impact. They exhibited the same behavior in 7, but would electrify and spin out the driver from any contact, just like in Tour. Now, like with the pinballs, the flippers will cause a spin out only if the driver speeds into them when they are active. Otherwise, they are perfectly harmless. As for the visual changes, get ready for a high score. There are so many that it's best that we start the lap over to show them all. So,
Here we go!
straight away we can see that various texture, lighting, and glow improvements have been made. The original design of the reset chamber had lights lining the tunnel, an angled gate leading to the vehicle launcher, a simple ball shooter lane, and a flashing Mario Kart sign with toggling lights and cycling border with a flashing starting line to match. 3DS improved on this design with a textured ball shooter lane, more habit trail braces, neon lights added by the adjusted gate and in the back coming from the drain end, and a revised sign with the classic font. In Tour, the lights were replaced with neon tubes amidst pipes and vents, a backlit ball shooter lane with a red habit trail, a cycling circular vehicle launcher with altered neon and a new guardrail, a simplified flashing sign, a magenta and yellow checkprint starting line, and a dot matrix arrow way in the back where the pink neon used to be. Wow, it looks very similar now, but with a heavy glow effect and a starting line that stays lit. Beautiful. Though purely aesthetic, the pinballs in the shooter lane have changed their behavior too. 4 balls stood in queue originally, never moving. For 3DS and Tour, the lane was clear with one ball being shot through every few seconds. Now, a single ball shoots out about 2 to 3 times per minute, more consistent with what happens on the playfield. While inside the launcher, we can see that the mini-map did not include this section for DS, but this was corrected for the 3DS version. Also, this map texture change is interesting. For the warp effect, Tour added the missing green and cyan streaks of light. As the destination was revealed on DS, we were greeted by a flashy Waluigi Pinball sign with numerous rainbow lights and a starry night sky above. These visuals were updated for 3DS, changing the black sky to a deep indigo with realistic stars. The greenish tint that covered the cabinet wall, lights, and now double-framed exit gate was cut to give a cleaner look. Oh, and a row of lights were added along an edge in the field below, too. For Tour's renovation of the course, this Waluigi Pinball sign was remade entirely, featuring a backbox display with a 2-frame animation of Waluigi, neon stars, and a marquee below with the text.
Waluigi #1.
Other things modified here were the exit gate, guardrail, cabinet wall, now with lights, scrolling arrow sign, and lower field with its light strip changed to neon. This is how it looks now, except for better lighting and glow, and the starry sky has reverted back to black. A great contrast. Turning to the left, a small flashing Waluigi sign was seen just before the jump. For Mario Kart 7, this sign was positioned after the jump instead. Tour turned this up a notch by replacing the sign with 3 glowing rings, which were kept for the latest version. Taking the leap, the slots come into view. We're getting to that beauty. From this angle, we can see that the horizontal vents atop the cabinet wall for DS were changed to vertical for 3DS, while the lower neon tube added in Tour is visible now. What's behind that scrolling arrow sign? Well, sponsors are. DS and 3DS had stationary Super Mario and course-exclusive Waluigi Sport trackside banners, but with Tour, they were changed to scrolling universal sponsors. Just before the second jump on DS, there were 2 poles. Toggling lights were added to them for 7. Tour removed the poles entirely, as well as the light strip along the grating, but added color-changing arrows on the guardrail, replacing a second set of poles at the jump with another big ring. Hey there, paratroopas! After the dash panel is an animated neon pinball sign in bowling alley style. This wasn't here before Tour. We now approach the Playfield arena where it's about to get wild. This flashing sign on neon posts was added in Tour, but the rest here has transformed a lot over the years. First, there was a colorful barrier around the arena with trackside banners on the cabinet wall. These sponsors stayed for the 3DS version, but the barrier was given a new palette. For Tour, these banners were removed, the barrier and this part of the cabinet wall were redesigned, and various arrow lights were placed in the area. Moving inward on the DS, we get a close-up of the flooring and arrow marquee, with more trackside banners in the background that remain in the 3DS version. Tour changed these to the scrolling type and swapped the arrow marquees with a color variant unique to the arena. The floor design also was changed, connecting the alternate path markings to the main and adding dot lights near the first set of bumpers. Speaking of which, these bouncy obstacles used to have a different design for DS and 3DS. The static type had cyan and blue on black, while the revolving type had alternating magenta lights. Both varieties were remade in Tour to look identical, with their cycling rainbow base and blue top lights. Oh, and the ring of lights that lined up with the rotation path were omitted too. Over here are more arrow lights standing upright on both sides of the outlanes. For DS, 4 arrows directed drivers towards the drain, but for 3DS onward, only 2 arrows could be seen. The groove, or wear, under the flippers was turned into color-changing floor lights with the same shape. And more spectators are here for the latest revision. The slot machine now towers above. Let's see at last how the spectacle transformed into the masterpiece that it is today. For the exhibit's first appearance, a large model of Waluigi watched over a slot machine adorned with lights, with a repurposed sign behind him. This model was smaller in Mario Kart 7, and some other details on the device were altered, such as the bars above and the neon below. For Tour, each element was redesigned from scratch. In place of the model was a cutout of Waluigi with his head tilting from side to side, and the slot's casing received a new look. But the biggest surprise may be the swanky backdrop depicting a neon cityscape with a Waluigi pinball sign, hot air balloon, stars, coconut palms, box, and gold coin pile, with additional gold coins spilled over the wall by the color-swapped neon. All of this has been given an impressive polish with improved effects, lights that cycle around the slot machine frame, illuminated bars, and even reflective texture on the coins. Incredible! Even the reels have changed their panels too. Initially, they contained the following: green shell, red shell, banana, mushroom, blooper, star, spiny shell, lightning, boo, and ba-bomb. 3DS swapped Boo for Golden Mushroom, and Tour exchanged Ba-bomb and Golden Mushroom for Fire Flower and Coin, and the reels have remained that way since. We see you, Helicopter. This all seriously looks great now. Many driver-initiated sound effects, jingles adding to the atmosphere, have been exclusive to Waluigi Pinball. Minor alterations to these were made over the generations, such as duration, pitch, and even fidelity, like how the item roulette sounds now. But some went missing completely in this version, like the dropout sound effect when going down the drain. And then there were the unique sound effects for climbing ranks. Please bring them back, Nintendo. The music for Waluigi Pinball has resonated so much with players that it has become an immortal meme. Also used for Wario Stadium in Mario Kart DS, the original theme was upbeat, playful, and just a bit mischievous, suitable for an obstacle course. Nice. For 3DS and Tour, the theme is of lower fidelity, giving more of a retro pinball feeling to it. Well, many tracks from the DS era were given that same treatment. Since DS Wario Stadium also returned here, its arrangement is reused, boasting crisper samples and environment. The theme's quality increase is evident, but a lo-fi remix or chiptune would have worked here too. And that's about it for all changes we found in Waluigi Pinball. The course remains faithful to the original gameplay style, but the massive visual improvement really helps to enhance the thrill and deliver an authentic arcade experience. But what do you think? Have you found any notable changes that we missed? Let us know in the comments below. Please be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell if you haven't yet, and check out the videos on the right for more content that may interest you. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Booster Course Wave 2 for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and other things gaming too. Until next time, ciao!